AskReddit by I'm Martin. If Putin dies, what is the worst that can happen? Like Yugoslavia after Tito, but with nukes this time. Or with Putin somehow being tied into Sistema perimeter dead hand with a dead man switch. https://en.wikipedia.org/wiki/dead. Russia splits into nuclear-armed warring states. This is my vote for worst case scenario. Basically the world could wake up one day with a dozen more North Koreas. He comes back alive twice as powerful. Somehow Putin returned. A worse version of Putin. Someone who shares his ideologies, but doesn't care about politics and international relations. There's always a bigger fish. The worst that can happen is his heartbeat is connected to Russia's nuclear missiles, and the minute he dies they all launch all over the globe at the same time. Gee, I wish we had one of them doomsday machines. So many things can go wrong. Civil war and another more insane person becoming the leader are the biggest. At least it won't be Prigozhin. That problem really solved itself. They slapped his rotting corpse onto the roof of the fanciest hotel in Russia. It'd be Putin on the Ritz. If you're dead and you don't know where to go to, why don't you go where the KGB sits? Putin on the Ritz. Dmitry Medvedev probably returns to the presidency and the Putin regime lives on. Somehow it feels like he would be even worse. With Russia, the worst that can happen always involves nuclear weapons. When the Soviet Union was collapsing, Russia allowed the US to get involved in securing and protecting their nuclear arsenal that was potentially out of their control. That seems unlikely to happen today. So the worst case is that working nukes get loose and are sold or otherwise transferred to entities willing to use them. I suppose the worst would be somehow the dead hand system goes off, but I'm highly doubtful that's as reliable or even operable as has been suggested. The good news is nukes need a ton of maintenance to stay functional, and the fissile material needs to be replenished with expensive and difficult to obtain materials on a regular basis. Lost nukes don't stay at world-ending levels of danger forever. The bad news is that might give someone who inherits such a device an incentive to utilize it before the best buffer date. Russia becomes a Chinese puppet state, giving China unlimited access to Russian resources. Slow down, Satan. Deleted. I really wonder if he has a secret successor trained. Right now the ringmaster has full control of the circus. But if he goes, the clowns will run the show. Same as it ever was. Putin II, the Putining. Putin II, nuclear boogaloo. Putin can't die unless you destroy his Horcruxes. He has 5. 1. Vladimir Lenin's body. 2. Ivanka Trump. 3. The bottle of vodka in one of the Kremlin cathedrals. 4. Rasputin's penis. 5. His judo black belt. Only once those are destroyed can he die. Voldemort. He respawns as a Siberian goat. I'd prefer for him to be a goat in Middle East. I heard they love a good goat. Russian warlord era. Holy shit, TNO reference. Mini Putin appears, and he is more aggressive and derailed than full Putin. And slightly shorter. Before he dies, he realizes he has nothing to lose, and presses the big red button. He has kids. Mass human extinction is the worst that can happen regardless of whether he dies or not. That is bound to happen in any case. It's like a cartel. It will be an extremely violent power struggle as multiple Stalins Putins vie for the ultimate power. He comes back after 30k years and tries to conquer the galaxy. This of course fails spectacularly and he is left a broken corpse strapped to a golden throne, being fed 1000 political dissidents a day, along with a tanker of stoli to sustain his life. In the grim darkness of the 31st millennium there is only war. He has several people around him that could replace him that are much worse. Nuclear war. Absolute worst outcome. Putin's secretaries and generals pretend he's still alive and do a bunch of shit. Realistic worst outcome. Russia gets balkanized. He is reincarnated as Canadian Prime Minister Putin.